after this point, the invaders saw fit to keep Melium and the cult within the city, but did not press further. So it's not really a siege, rather they're just like, don't spread your religion beyond the city, you're happy in there. There we go. Oh hey Corbo. So basically, we've got a few different segments I do on my stream, but right now we're working on the World of Gethra, which is an interactive world building kind of story that we continue to unfold. So the idea kind of is, I mean, if nothing's going on, I'll just ask you guys, well, who wants to start a character, and we'll just go from there. But we also like to focus on these kind of big kind of quest or story events. So right now we're working on the spread of Melium, this cult that we were working on throughout the week on our stream, and as soon as we come upon a new character that someone in the world whose impact will be relevant to what's going on here, I can ask you then if you want. You can hop in with that character, or we can wait until the next time that someone that we need to figure out what a character decides. And whenever a character is going to decide something, we try to get a player to decide it if there's someone available. Yes. We use a lot of random rolls and kind of off the cuff storytell. The bigger the channel gets, the more it will become. Here's this story unfolding. Oh, we need a decision. Who's going to decide? Oh, we need another decision. Who's going to decide this time? But for now, when we're a little smaller, it's a bit more just kind of impromptu. Whatever we can come up with. So. Alright, after this point, the invaders saw fit to keep Melium and the cult within the city, but did not press further for a period of 8 years. Just for more reference, Garbo, if you look at at my About panels, there's lots of info in there. There's frequently asked questions. There's links to my web series, Lives of Gethra, which is just a really long fantasy series I've written. And there's also a link to the World Anvil wiki. And on the wiki, you can view a lot of the information. We've just started it this week. It's my first, just past 1 week streaming for me. But it's going to be continuing to grow with all the contributions and my own work in recording the World of Gethra. And you can actually view in here, I mean, if we look at, we just did this earlier today, we can look at Luthera Rantel, which is Chicken with Rabies character, and you can see his credit, or, his kind of like contribution right there. And there we are. Yeah, it's just been 1 week so far. I started streaming last Monday. Kind of testing the water, seeing where it goes, seeing what parts of my show are successful. For a period of 8 years, Pitane and his followers were able to continue their meditations and studies within the walls. So, Babacus, is Pitane happy with 8 years of just pursuing his ascendancy, or is he going to act out at some point? How old is he now? He is, so this would be, let me just figure it out to be sure. It's around 768, and he was born in 702, so he is 66. I don't know that he would be, I mean, he has been a magician all his life, so he's probably not, like he probably is able to travel and stuff, but he certainly wouldn't be feeling like a young man anymore. Looking for an apprentice, someone who can be his prophet. his successor. I like that. Carbo, do you want to be a um, a new apprentice, a new leader potentially for this cult, or do you want to wait for the next opportunity for another character? Sweet. All right. Patan began searching for a. Right. Yes. Sorry, I forgot. But he would have healers around who were able to treat minor ailments, and that's a big factor in history, of course. Minor ailments were the cause of many people dying, but if you could cure those, you'd have lifespans more similar to our own in some ways. So, all right, Patan began searching for an apprentice to succeed him as prophet for Melian. All right, so he found so Corbo, you're welcome to come up with your own name, and we can tweak it to fit the dialect of Gethra, the names and languages that sound familiar. You can also choose a name from this list. I really need to make it longer. It's been at the bottom of my priority list, I guess. But here's some names that I came up with that fit somewhat with Gethra already. Kind of up to you. I also hope things are clear enough on my stream. Kind of hard to tell what the experience is for you guys. It's tiny. I should make everything bigger while I'm on stream then. Maybe that's a little better. Thendro. Okay, cool. Let's do it. All right, let me just move back over here. I'll make this one bigger too for you guys. It'll just mean more scrolling around for me, but that's okay. It's probably nicer for you guys to follow along. That's one of the reasons I think it would be good to have to put these roll tables on a website at some point, but it's a bit larger of a project than I can bite off right now. All right. He found what he sought in Thendro. Corbo, do you imagine that your new kind of apprentice to the cult leader, has he been a member of the cult all his life then? Or is he someone who was converted to the cult? What do you think? For reference, actually, let me show you the map here. So for reference, the cult of Melian began in Ith and spread out in influence, kind of converting people into their belief system that everyone needed penance to please Melian, their deity. And they spread out further abroad until eventually they spanned all the way to the Eye of Maga and all the way south to Balesa. And then after that, there began to be some dissent within the ranks. The leader of the cult, Bara Patan, he began to believe he was a god, meant to ascend and marry Meliam. And this led to some fractures in the formation of the cult, and we have different kind of groups now. And it got to the point for Bara Patan and the kind of core part of the cult that now they're just back in Ith, and they've walled off from the outside world, and they're just doing their thing. So Thendra could be someone who's kind of been involved all along, or he could be someone in Ith who now is like, well, the cult's pretty big here and has converted into it. Oh, that would help determine his age, yes. That's up to Corbo, though. He can. Oh, I see, Bubba, because you're thinking that you wouldn't apprentice someone older than 30s. Yeah, I think Corbo can weigh in on how old he thinks Thendro is, and Corbo can also decide if if he sees him as someone who is raised in the religion the entire time, or if he was converted into it as a young man. And we're gonna go ahead and edit that page. In his 20s, and he was born into the cult. I think that makes sense. All right. Sorry, I was also just checking out some other things I need to check. Corbo, did you want your name included on the wiki here? And you can always come back to it and see that you had the role. And also, it's harder for me to tell if you got 3 underscores or 2 underscores at the end there. So just let me know. And we'll add in here bio. We might need to fill it in a little bit more later. Sure, why not? Awesome. And we're going to add in here as well. So he's in his 20s. So if he is found as an apprentice in 768, then we're going to set up the randomizer for 760. So then he would be 28. Yeah, okay. And anywhere up to 770, then he would be, well, we'll do 768. There. 768. Okay, so he's just barely in his 20s. So that's oh wait. Oh, I did this wrong. Offset by the wrong number of years. So it's currently 768, so these should have been like 49 and 58. No, that's still not right. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Sorry. So why don't I just do it this way? Oh, sweet. Okay. It's probably different because I'm using like my Streamlabs thing. So 23. So he's 23, which means he was born in 45. Sorry, that should not have taken me so long, guys. Usually that's a sign that it is now 1 a.m. and I am not a night person as much as I used to be. 3 underscores. Thank you. And I'll get quicker with figuring stuff like that out. And Corbo, if you want, we can also fill in his birthday, which we just need a day between 1 and 30 and a month between 1 and 12. You can just decide any numbers that you'd like, or we can roll those as well. Just let me know. Sure, sounds good. In 768, the leader of the cult of Bellium, Berepatane, accepted Thendro as his apprentice, eyeing him as a successor. So he was born on the 8th of the second moon. Oops. 8th of the second moon. All right, so one more question for you, Corbo. An auspicious day indeed. Corbo, do you think Thendro sees Patane? So there's some controversy about Berepatane. He's been, for many years acting more and more erratically, and he kind of believes himself to be a god, and he's seeking to ascend, and he doesn't remember a lot of things that happen around him. He just kind of is. It seems like maybe he's in his own head too much. So is this something that Thendro sees as true, that Berepatane may ascend and become a god, and he believes it that devoutly, or does he believe that he believes in Melium devoutly, but he sees Berepatane as being a perhaps a little bit of a loose cannon or something? So in other words, how much is his loyalty to Melium, and how much is his loyalty to Berepatane, the cult leader? And we can also fill in some more stuff here. Actually, let's add a little bit more to Berepatane's page, because we've learned some big things about his later life period here. 68, after facing a great deal of adversity from the splintered factions of the cult, Bera began selecting a young man to be trained in his ways. Feel free to ask any questions, Corbo, no worries. All right. Obviously, there would be a period of training as well, as Babakis was saying. So we have, I guess we need to find out what's next then. Babakis, is there anything that Berepatane is going to do aside from training this apprentice? Is he invested in, is he kind of like resigned to the fact that he's just going to stay in Ith until he ascends to become a god or dies? Or is he, at some point going to turn his attention elsewhere? He's kind of resigned to it's time to move on with his life into the next evolution in his mind. That's another thing, Corbo, that Thendro could have an opinion on. Maybe Thendro thinks it's time the religion branches out again, and Berepatane is only willing to stay in Ith and meditate. Bobcast, I think we should also maybe, if we know that he's not going to, he's loyal to him. Okay, cool. He wants to continue the way that Berepatane has ruled. Thendro accepted this honor Canadian spelling, then are accepted this honor as he was fully loyal to the cult leader. Okay. So I think then the next question is, how long does Barapatain rule for, or live for? So if we know that he's never going to leave Ith, and he's only going to stay and like focus on this, then does he succeed in ascending? We'll give that fairly low odds. A ritual makes it seem like he ascends. We could say he actually does somehow. We could say he does not, but eventually passes of old age and ailments. Oh no, you lost me. Refreshing, okay. Hopefully that's not my internet. I'll wait for you, Bobicus, if just let me know if you're able to connect again, since this is kind of a big role for your character. He is not, but eventually passes of old age or ailments. Wait, can you either guys still hear me, or is my connection just fully lost? Ah, okay, we're back. Sweet. Thanks guys. He loses all his memories and is said to have ascended beyond the mortal plane while his... Okay, that's a cool option, yeah. I like that. Okay, so makes it seem like he ascends. That's more likely than he actually does ascend. I think that is a fairly likely option. And then this one is not a bad option either. Alright, here we go. Gonna do a roll for it. Three. He is not, but eventually... Let's roll on that, because that is a good idea, that even if he does pass of old age, you know, obviously his body would eventually die anyway. So let's randomize if that's what people interpret it as. It would depend on how his faculties went, right? So if he was still lucid, you know, before eventually passing away in his in his sleep or something, then it would be less likely that they'd believe that. So, do people believe he ascended mentally? Yes or no? All right, we're gonna leave this one as just an even or odd. So 1, yes, okay, there you go. So at least his legacy is intact. Okay, so and let's figure out then how much longer is this. So we already figured out 768, and how many years later than that? Nice. It's sad to see Patan go. He had quite a big impact. So it could be quite a while. We'll give it. He could get fairly old, so we'll give it up to somewhere between 5 and 15 years later. 15. Wow, there you go. High rolling, Bobicus, like you always do. All right. So what would that be? So in 783. In 783, Bara Patan finally passed away. Of old age. It was believed. It was clear to his followers. I'll make it sound even more definitive. It was clear to his followers that before the end, his mind had ascended into godhood. All right. And now we can complete that on Bara Patan's page. 783. Now, I will say, Bobicus, just so we can kind of think about this in light of how my stream works at the Knaves Guild, we may have future storylines that take place between the years 702 and 783. So simply because your guys' characters maybe pass away or are killed or whatever happens to them, that doesn't mean that that's the end of your participation. It may be that eventually I need to find out, well, what would Patan have done during this thing that's minor to him, so it didn't make it into his storyline, but is a big thing to some other character. So yeah, so it's kind of cool that in a way the characters are always living within this history. Yeah. We're going to leave this up to the dice, I think. 6th of the 7th moon. All right, so he was 81 years old. All right, so Thendro, Corbo. Can we then figure out what do you think Thendro's direction is next? His master has ascended into godhood, and now he is in charge of the cult. Yep, he was quite a fellow, Babacus. Is Corbo going to continue in his predecessor's ways, just ruling in Ith and trying to maintain power and seek evolution and enlightenment, or is he going to try to correct the heretics beyond the city? The new generation. So we're gonna actually change this now.